Hi students, I'm going to do another little sketch, this time about 2-point and how that is set up in general. It'll be tweaked to match the picture that you're using, but I just wanted to do the 1-point because that was a possible choice. The rest of those images are 2-point. When you have 1-point perspective, it's called that because there's 1 point. It's one vanishing point. Everything goes to and from it. It still has different distances in verticals and different distances in horizontals. It still uses T-squares and extended lines, just like 2-point, but it's only dealing with one vanishing point. 2-point is dealing with 2. And 2 can be a building. Well, it could be anything structural. I mean, everything. Everything is, in fact, almost everything you see in life has perspective. Well, yeah. I mean, everything's close and far. So with 2-point perspective, you're going to be doing 2 vanishing points on the same plane, on the same line. And you're also going to be using that T-square to get the differences between width of horizontal and vertical lines. But as opposed to setting it up that way, we're going to set this one up a little bit differently. What's great about 1-point is you can do it on kind of a small area because you're not having to lunge to the left and the right to find those vanishing points. With the 1-point, it's right there in the middle, and you can do it pretty easily on a small table. This one, however, has to be done a little bit more close so that you can get all the way over. Just making a picture plane. I didn't need to do that, but this is it. I just didn't want to be too messy. All right, so here's your picture. You had your 1-point. Now we're going to do a 2-point. If you were doing a building, you would use your center line as the corner of the building. You'd find your eye level, which on a building is usually low, and then you would figure out the steepness. I'm just checking that it's recording. Yes, because that's a drag when it doesn't. So this goes usually one side steeper and one side less steep. Steeper, less steep. And then basically this is how you set it up. You figure out your vanishing points, and your building, of course, doesn't go to here. That's just the vanishing point that goes here. Usually the building ends somewhere like this. And then you have a very steep looking up. Usually they're not quite that same width, but if you have a few buildings in a row, you can use the same method. Even going up on the base, you go to here. It's like a constant crisscross. So if you're looking at a building or a series of buildings, the rule of thumb is if every line you make goes to one side or the other, you're going to look pretty good. Sometimes it gets confusing and you have to flip-flop. But then you have your horizon line here, your building there. Let's say there's a window on the building. You have the lines there already. And you have the angles there already because you drew the lines. So that's 2-point with a building. So basically outside. Now when you're inside, it's a flip of that. Because you have your paper here, you have the corner of the room, you have an angle of the room, you figure out your eye level, which varies. Here, this is the eye level. Here, this is the eye level. On a building, it's usually lower because you're looking up. But in a room, it can really vary depending on whether you're standing, sitting, whatever. But if this is your eye level, everything from here is going to go up and up and up, swinging through just like we did on the 1-point. And everything here is going to be swinging up and up and up. Because this is the angle that it's going. But it's going to be reaching through to a vanishing point on your eye level. And then it's going to be going the other way. I'm trying to do it so it hits inside. So you basically have like a V this way and a V that way on your eye level. So it's like a flipped version of this, whereas these vanishing points are here, these vanishing points are here on the eye level. And if this is the corner of the room, that tells you the angles that things are moving. So if this is going down, this is going down, and then you travel up above your eye level, then this is going up and this is going up. So that's how you determine the room. I'm going to do that again. I got really messy there. I'm going to do it in reverse. So let's say your eye level is here. And you have two vanishing points, just like at the building. But the difference is when you extend your lines up until the corner of the room, you're going to extend through that one and then also through this one. So it looks like a building, but it's actually going in. It looks identical to that, but it's hard to see at first. But if you pick an anchor of your corner of your room, and instead of going down this way, you travel up and then continue on. Instead of going up there, you travel and continue down. And then this one is the same thing. You have to go through the eye level, So they're both spinning around. This, you could say, is also spinning around, but you don't have to worry about it going in on the inside. So here you have this. Then the corner of the room has to extend from here to the corner of the room and out. So it's like a flip-flop. So this is the floor, these are the walls, and this is the ceiling. And so if you're going to draw the angle of the ceiling, you have to draw it through there. That's what gets really confusing. So this would be the corner of your room. And then usually there's something in front, or you're looking through a door into that room. But this is now the floor. Now if you had a checkered floor and you did all these lines first, it's already drawn. Because you can see how these are already there. These are the checkered floors. Even if there's a wall in front, you've got them here tucked behind. I can't tell you how many times people draw a checkered floor like that, but all floors, all sidewalks, all walkways, every single thing goes there. And then if it gets weird, go back to the vanishing point, drag it through, go back to the vanishing point, drag it through. That's the only way you can have accuracy with all the things in the room. Similar to the other one, let's say you're doing a picture frame. I just didn't put enough through yet. Let's say you're doing crisscross all the way through. And you want to do a picture frame in here that looks like it's in the picture. Well, you can only use this for the sides, and then you have your verticals, and then to figure out the bottom of this, you have to go like this. It can be confusing, but if you just remember, if you get confused, it's one or the other. It's always one or the other. The other thing is, if you do verticals and spread them out before you start. Even if your picture doesn't have that in it, it's really helpful to do extra so that you can remind yourself of the process. It's like using a grid too. Like if you just have that support system underneath, you can remember what you're doing. Because it doesn't do any good to make it all pretty and developed and stuff without this first. The cool thing too is this applies to round things. If you have a round, kind of a cylindrical shape, or you have maybe a flower bed in this or flower vase in here, even if it's round, it's really square. So you want to make sure it's sitting on the ledge properly by drawing it like a square first. Another thing is, if you have things lined up, like this is a ceiling. This is the ceiling here. Let's say you have a light fixture that is in the ceiling, like a round bulb hanging with a little thing into the ceiling. You can't draw a row of those without using these lines. So you want to draw one of them and then use your ruler. And remember, this is it. Keep making these dark, dark, dark so you remember these are there. And then you extend this line out to where this is on both sides. And that tells you that the next one has to be on the same trajectory. Getting bigger, but it's on the same line. See what I mean? Like, whoop, I messed up. It's bigger, but I'll do it like this. Like if it gets significantly bigger, you still have to go out from here. Like if they're all uniform, that next one would be like this. But if this is significantly bigger because of the design of the room or whatever, even if you make a bigger one, it still has to have both edges going to here. Same thing with here. It has to go to here, no matter what you do. Let's say there's a window open. It has to go to here to get the top and the bottom. And then it has to go to here to get the angles too, going the other way. So let's say you want to do another artwork or whatever over here. That has to correspond to here. So like I said, when in doubt, just recheck these two. It's really important to do a lot of messy studies of this before you get too far along, because later when you come in with color and stuff, you can do all kinds of things to emphasize that. And if you paint in the direction of the linear perspective, it even helps more. This is great. Like in a building, it would be the same with sidewalks. Like people do a building all great and then all of a sudden the sidewalk is off. Even the sidewalk is on there. Even these checkered floors are on there. Everything's on there. Even overlapped round things. So it can get a little weird, but that's the same kind of a deal. It's good to do this little warm-up kind of practice before you even deal with your picture.